Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your East Oakland advocate. Well, what can I say? City of Oakland has a very serious problem with the homeless, and there's only one solution, and they have been avoiding this solution. And the solution is housing. Housing in the city of Oakland, creating housing that is affordable for our homeless population. Also, settlements, so long-term settlements. That's how we're going to get people off the streets. And then I want to talk about one of the issues that um, has doesn't get talked about enough, and that is people coming out of incarceration. And this is what happens with those that come out from incarceration, from prison, from Santa Rita, uh, and they don't have anywhere to go. And so they go back to their old haunts, 77th Avenue, Wood Street. You see all of that happening on a regular basis. And so that's the problem that we have. And we need to be setting up uh, options and housing with supportive care for those coming out of incarceration so that it breaks that cycle of the revolving door of prison and crime. Because what's happening right now, a lot of folks are coming out of incarceration. They have nowhere to go. Literally, they have no resources. They don't have family. They don't have a job. They don't have money. And so, without any resources, what do you think is going to happen? This is what happens. And so, we have to be setting up uh, models so that people coming out of incarceration have a place to go, have immediate housing, supportive services, uh, along with the contact for their PO, their parole officer, who knows where to find them now, because when they release them to the streets, they have no idea where they're going. And that's why we have such a big problem on the streets, because a lot of what's happening, people are getting off the streets, yes, but then the criminals are the ones that refuse to leave because they don't want to be in something that reminds them of prison. So I'm going to talk more on this when I get back. I'm just out here right now walking the dog, and we're looking at the folks that are moving in. It was from a recent closure down the street on 74th Avenue, and these are the folks that got moved out. And City of Oakland doesn't have housing for them. There's nowhere for them to go. And then there's no support services. And in this site right here, which used to be my former uh, homeless encampment, a sanctioned site, they removed all the porta potties. They removed the hand washing stations. They come down here with about once a week, maybe, or every other week, to do trash pickup at the end of the street from the illegal dumping that goes on. But nothing's changed. But what we have to change is the housing situation, and there has to be housing provided for those coming out of incarceration. And I have a model that I've been talking about where those that are coming out of incarceration, no matter where they're at, if they're here in the Bay Area, there will be a place for them to go to. They will be, they'll have housing, they'll have food, services will be provided, job training will be provided, along with job placement. So there's a lot of good things that are in the models that I have in front of the city, but the city's not wanting to do any of that because their model is to move everybody out and not house people, and that's why there's been a shortage of housing. So, and you can blame the leaders. We've had nothing but poor leadership since 2006. In fact, some of the worst leadership in the country. That's how we got into this situation. So I'm going to talk about this a little more in depth when I get back inside. So I'll be right back. Okay, now that we're back, reason why I wanted to talk more openly in private so that none of the homeless folks misconstrue anything that I say. And there are some that can be real touchy on certain words that may be spoken, even though I'm not talking to them. They know that I am creating something outside of their walls. And so I want to make sure that we don't have any misunderstandings. I went down there and introduced myself. I spoke with a lot of the folks down there, which is typically what I do. This is me getting the temperatures of the water, so to speak. And this is how I find out who are the problem children and who are those that are truly seeking help. And uh, a person has to go down there, and that's what the city of Oakland is not doing. They're not finding out about the story. Why are they here? How did they get into this particular situation? What would they like to see happen for their benefit, you know, in terms of housing, maybe jobs, uh, whatever it is. It gives them an opportunity to speak on their behalf, and then I can work at tailoring a solution for them uh, that would be more to their liking. And that's what the city of Oakland and Alameda County need to do. They need to be more proactive and meet people where they're at, not talk down to them, not insult them, but talk about how they arrived here. What are some of the difficulties that they're having in obtaining housing, and what type of housing do do they see themselves in? Would it be along the same lines as their current situation, but in a different setting, more controlled and healthy setting? Or would it be more of a structure like a home that would be affordable to them? Would they need the job placement? And this is one of the things that I've noticed over the last few years. And the problem is with those that are coming out of incarceration, especially Santa Rita, San Quentin, um, and many other jails that are locally. And the problem is that when they're released from incarceration, they're given literally no resources. There's no housing. They get a, essentially a BART ticket if they're at Santa Rita. They get a BART ticket that gets them from Dublin to anywhere that BART travels on a mostly one-way trip. So that's not very helpful. Plus, they're not given a place to go to for housing, for food, for any kind of services whatsoever. And so this is the vicious cycle that our injustice system places on a lot of folks. Uh, when they're released from incarceration, they literally have nothing. I know because when I was released from Santa Rita for my little thing back in 2020 or 2019, uh, um, I got a BART ticket, and that's it. And I had lost my housing because I the judge who let me out on OR said that I could not return back to where I was living. And so I had no housing. Um, but it was a friend that I called, and that friend said, yes, come on by. I'll provide you a place for the next year. So I had housing. And um, and uh, I actually got that order that forbid me from going back to my former camp. That was dropped in 30 days. And so I was back at the camp assisting folks there and also minding the criminals that had moved in also. And that's the problem that we have here in Oakland. We need to have a 100% affordable housing for a wide range of people, and especially for those coming out of incarceration. And I have a plan for that. And what I was thinking of uh, would be a very good use of Howard Terminal. A Howard Terminal situation that could be built out for um, not a halfway home. We're not going to call them that because that's not that's not a good label to put on people. But we'll find something that is more acceptable and with more dignity. And that's the problem that our system has. And the site would house people, give them immediate housing, and also, if they don't have a ride can be arranged and an immediate pickup can be arranged with the incarceration uh, prison, jail, wherever it is. Uh, a call can be made to this site, to this program, and they will send a vehicle to pick up that person or persons and transport them to the help center. And the help center gives them immediate housing, food, shelter, and also it starts setting up uh, uh, their future uh, and starts helping them with a continuum of care. So there's going to be health care involved. There's going to be job training, job placement. So there's a lot of good things to come out of this program. And that's program number 5 on my list. Uh, Not so much in the order, but the 5th program that I've put together for those coming out of incarceration. And then what that will do, that will drastically cut the crime here in Oakland, because we will have a place where those released from incarceration, no matter what type of incarceration they were in, but there will be a place for them to be accountable, and that they're not going to be able to return to the streets and continue with the life of crime that got them into this situation. And so this is a more of a diversionary program that includes housing, food, and support, which is an element that is badly needed for those coming out of incarceration. Also, this applies to, uh, there's another one which is dedicated to those coming out of foster care. And instead of being thrown out at the age of 18, they will actually have a place that they can go to that will provide housing, food, job training, educational assistance if they're trying to either get their GEDs, get into college, or community colleges. But it is a program that will be there to help them and support them throughout their journey. And the whole thing is it's working to help divert them from their past criminal uh, history and create a new history moving forward. And that's what's missing here in Oakland. And that's what I bring, another element that I bring to the program. And it's badly needed here in Oakland. And that's the only way we're going to deal with a lot of the crime that's coming into Oakland. And one of the things that I say about the criminal element here in Oakland is that I've dealt with them for over 10 years. as a homeless person, and now as a business owner here in the city of Oakland, and a resident of District 7. And so one of the many things that I've seen over the last few weeks, several criminals that I put behind bars and in prison are being released. You know, their time, they've done their time, they've done their year, 2 years, and they're being released. And they came back to the neighborhood. And one of the worst ones that I'm going to talk about is Justin. Justin, if you owned a Hyundai, he is likely the person that stole your car, because this idiot, he was high on meth all the time, and he was a real problem here in this neighborhood. It took us 2 years to get rid of his sorry ass. And then once we got rid of him and his dog, we burned down his motorhome. Actually, we didn't burn it down. The neighborhood burned it down. We don't know who actually set fire to it, but it ensured that he didn't come back, because there was rumors that he was only going to be gone for 6 months. And so at the 6-month period, an arsonist set fire to that, and then that was the damage you see on that AT&T service building. And AT&T now does not use that building because of the damage that was inflicted on the other side of the metal building. But he was one of those people that caused a lot of problems in the neighborhood. His pit bull got out and would bite people, get in dog fights in the neighborhood. Then he's stealing cars left and right. Overnight, he would steal up to 4 Hyundais and park them right there. And the police were slow to doing anything, because the police were so busy with the other crimes. You know, the car theft crime wasn't that important, because they had much more bigger things going. And so they kind of ignored Justin for a while, and they finally caught his dumb butt. And he was high on meth when they arrested him outside. He had 3 Hyundais that he was literally stripping right there across the street from me. And when the police busted him, and they put him away, and I had heard that he was gone for a year. And so the year was up. I saw him 3 weeks ago. He was begging water, and he was one of those that I do not want to encourage to come back. I refuse to give him anything. In fact, I told him to get the hell out of the neighborhood, because he's not welcome here. And if he sets up anywhere in the neighborhood is going to deal with him. And so shortly after that, Justin, he's aware of this neighborhood, and the homeowners, the business owners here, we are not tolerant of criminals. And he was one of those that, like I said, took us 2 years to finally get rid of, and we don't want him back because of all the problems that he caused here in the neighborhood. But getting back to my new neighbors at my former sanctuary encampment, a lot of those folks, they're victims of circumstance, and they have very limited income, if any income. One is fleeing domestic violence, and so she's living with a couple of people who she trusts down there. And so there's a lot of reasons, and we have to have safe housing for people like that escaping domestic violence, and they're trying to hide from that very violent spouse. And so these are the problems that we need to deal with. And it's not just about drug addiction. Drug addiction is probably the least of the problems here on the street for those that are truly homeless and not criminals getting back in business. So that's what's going on out here. Oakland, you have to do better. We need to create permanent homeless settlements throughout the city of Oakland. I have a 20-acre site that I will be putting together here in the coming future, and placing up to 500 families into this 20-acre site. And this is going to be qualified as a zero income and fully 100% affordable homeless, or not homeless, but heritage and sanctuary site that will be coming online in the near future. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.